Brilliant ideas, powered by Hyundai Motor.
The contemporary art world is vibrant and booming as never before. It's a global industry in its own right. Brilliant Ideas looks at the contemporary artists with a unique power to push boundaries, ask questions and see the world afresh. The artist getting on top of his work in this programme is Subodh Gupta. Subodh Gupta is one of the most exciting and celebrated artists in the world today.
Where the interest came from drawing, even I don't know, but I love to draw.
He was born in Bihar in the east of India. Raised in a rural railway family, as a youth he became fascinated with the local travelling theatre before deciding that it would be his newly discovered talent for painting which would transport him via art school out of the countryside and into the heart of the Indian and international contemporary art world.
And here I am.
Having become a trained painter, it was his move into the medium of large-scale sculptures and installation works which brought him to the attention of a global audience.
Subodh Gupta completely challenges the history of Indian sculpture and installation.
I think that he helped to define the international audience's interest in Indian art. You might want to call him like the godfather of contemporary art in India.
Subodh has become renowned for trawling the memories of his childhood.
How you grew up, what you learn, is a great influence in my artwork today.
He raises mundane, everyday objects and includes them in stunningly inventive and innovative works.
Subodh is intensely spectacular. There is enormity of scale, there's monumentality, there is a spectacularism in the way the work has been shown.
I think 100 years from now, he will stand as the historic shift that India took around the 90s.
I lived and grew up in the colony where the 99% population work in the railway. My father was in railway, my two elder brothers in railway, my brother-in-law in the railway, and I grew up with this sound and railway platform is like a home.
I know that he calls himself this railway boy. Had he not actually experienced that kind of a scenario in his life, to my mind, the entire conceptual framework of his work would have been absolutely different.
My hometown, they used to have a fair and we all used to go. And there was theatre, a small group theatre was going on. And we used to enjoy it, we used to love it. And thank you to my mom, who used to take me to theatre, to watch theatre. And I had a huge interest to become an actor. Yeah. And my family wanted to pressure me to go work in the railway. And I said, okay, no. And I was interested in theatre. And they said, I'm not going to support you. I'm like, okay, I will support myself. And life began.
It was during this brief period in the theatre that Subodh discovered his talent for drawing and painting when he was asked to make the advertising posters. So he promptly enrolled in the local art school where he could study both.
In my foundation, I did theatre as well as art. And in the visual art, you don't need an audience, you don't need a light. I'm my own director, and I'm my own actor, and I'm my own audience. And that struck me, and I thought, okay. And I decided to leave the theatre. That's why I chose the visual art.
By 1993, Subodh was a struggling painter and had moved to Delhi. It was during this period that he met a young UK-born painter who he subsequently married. That artist was Bharti Kaur, who's gone on to rival Subodh as one of the leading lights in the world of award-winning international contemporary artists. One could justifiably call them the Brad and Angelina of the art world.
When I met Bharti, I was making very bad works. She told me, it's not good. I was making crap works. I was frustrated. And I realized, if I want to go somewhere, I have to stop this painting. And then something I thought, I can do a sculpture. That was my turning point of my life in the art too. So Bharti made a huge difference.
Subodh's decision was to change mediums and try his hand at sculpture. For inspiration, he would draw on his childhood experiences in rural India.
When it's come to me, what I have to do something, always I go back to my root. So I went back.
So many of his works are inspired by a sense of nostalgia based on his childhood or his, maybe what was and his remembrance of it, which is two different things.
We grew up eating breakfast, lunch and dinner on the stools. So that stools mean a lot to me. So I collected those stools. Each stool was my memory, how I grew up. And I'm able to do 29 stools that time, I remember. And I given the title, it's called 29 Mornings. That was my first installation. And yeah, everything started from there, sculpture, yeah.
Following on from the success of 29 Mornings, considered by many to be his breakthrough piece, Subodh continued to trawl the fertile memories of his childhood.
The early Subodh Gupta works are cow dung. They were all generated by cow dung, they mimicked cow dung, he applied cow dung onto the paintings, onto his body, he created cow dung structures. So there was the architectonics of the possibilities of cow dung. Cow dung is purificatory material for an Indian hut because it is seen as antiseptic. So every evening, even in the heat, to cool down extreme hot summers, people will mix cow dung and perhaps lime and put it on the hut. So I think these are things that he has believed and seen their plastic possibilities.
Once again, Subodh had grasped another tangible memory from his childhood, this time employing it in a piece called Pure. He collected a number of everyday household objects from his neighbours and sunk them into a field constructed of cow dung. Later, he shot a film of himself showering in dung. This whole process evoking a sense of his rural, ritualistic Hindu upbringing.
I'm born in a Hindu family, so quite ritual in that way. That experience still allow me to sometimes express in my art too. And ritual, what you saw in Pure, and when I'm lying in the field, and when I'm having a shower with the cow shit, is coming from there. It's coming from that experience. I'm not shy person, so if anything comes to, and I believe if I'm able to express something within that, I don't sigh, I do it.
Another Subodh piece from this period saw him evoking memories of his mother by constructing a hut out of cowpats. Although it is dung, he describes My Mother and Me by saying, beliefs change it into something else. It becomes something holy in this part of the world.
I remember a work that he did called Bihari, which had his self-portrait and in neon light embedded Bihari in Hindi with cow dung and mud painted as the rest of the tabloid. He was re-looking at his entire upbringing on one side, yet was looking at and trying to reinvent medium and material, not in the conventional fashion, but with a sense of amalgamation that suited his conceptual framework.
After the break, we find out how Subodh discovers his next artistic muse in the kitchen shop.
This man, I bought lots of stuff recently, actually. I think I love this, no?
Ideas. Ideas.
Having moved away from painting and into sculpture and installations in the late 90s, it was at the beginning of the next decade that Subodh Gupta's startlingly imaginative eye settled on something else that had been part of his life since childhood, to elevate into his art.
One afternoon, when I went to the kitchen, instead of cooking, and I start looking at the utensils. Basically, I felt they start talking to me. And It's every day, every home is such a common object. And I thought, it's perfect. And I can draw something with it. This become like my tools. I thought, here is something happening. And I went for it. And here I am with the utensil now. And people know me. It's like my signature item in a sculpture.
It's performance art. The way he puts those utensils together and makes it something that it's completely not.
Subodh had now clearly found his artistic voice. The next period of his extraordinary career was primarily devoted to exploring the technical and conceptual limits to which he could take his new stainless steel creations.
Like you go and buy brushes and pencil, my material become utensils. In Delhi, this is the hub of utensils. But you will see, it's like a hidden treasure.
In fact, Subodh uses so many utensils in his works that his regular replenishing trips to the old Delhi markets have become somewhat of a pilgrimage. It's part of his creative process that he enjoys as much now as he did 15 years ago.
Beautiful. Look at this. ये को देना, हर size का एक देना. Hello sir, how are you? This man, I bought lots of stuff recently actually. I think I love this. No? I don't know what I will do with it. Keep it in my studio. I love it. So it will stay with me. कितने का हुआ भैया? इसको डाल दो प्लास्टिक.
There are many things that drive your creativity, but sometimes it's important to let that child in you, which each of us have, out in the open, and that's very, very human. And that's a part of each individual, and it comes out in different forms of expression.
Subodh's body of work has expanded exponentially, both in numbers and in scale. Pieces like his 2012 25-foot-high take on the Horn of Plenty, entitled Ray.
Again, he's taking something, a little cheap metal pot that is ubiquitous in daily life in India, and then transforming these things into very impressive, very powerful structural landscapes.
Another of these structural landscapes is Dada, a stainless steel representation of a banyan tree, laden with, unsurprisingly, utensils.
Dada is a Hindi word. We always call to grandfather Dada. And it's like a father, then grandfather, and generation. We're talking about the banyan tree also has a same kind of feeling, because you see in the middle one root, and then you see that suddenly several roots coming on it. Putting the utensil in that tree is like a dream, it's like a fairy tale. And my whole things about from childhood to now is like a dream come true.
Just the sheer audacity of his dream is what is in most people's hearts in the country. They're back to daring to dream and being able to make a life for themselves.
Well, his work very much has an Indian stamp to it. There's no getting away from it. It is Indian. I mean, it screams it.
There's an immediate connect with anybody in India. He's able to transform that thought process and the Indian ethos into a global outlook.
That ability to take everyday aspects of life in India and create this story, I think, had a very, very strong response in the West.
From the very early days, Subodh has based himself in India's capital, Delhi.
It's a big city and lots going on. And in terms of art, Delhi is quite active. So many artists live and practice in this city. This is very new studio. In India, there is no place for an artist to make art. So in Indian constitution, in government, artists not allowed to work at home. It's illegal in India, and only lawyer, doctor, architect can practice from home, not the artist, because they think it's a commodity, commercial things. Look, I can afford it today to have a studio. I'm lucky. But many artists, they can't afford to have a studio.
Success has meant that Subodh has been able to grow the size of his studio as the size of his artworks have grown.
Basically, like he started from a little piece of clay which he designed, and then he wanted to create in such a big scale. So yeah, and almost there should be like 10,000 utensils, or maybe more than that, a little bit. And yeah, these are in like 10 pieces, and it's really heavy and like huge to move. Even to load into the truck, it takes like huge man force and everything. So we always like think about the size. It should fit in the container. It should fit in the aircraft, sea container, and everything, so that it can travel the whole world. So there should not be any problem with the shipping. I think almost everything is strange here, so I can't say like particularly about the like one particular work. But yeah, we do experiments. Some of them work, and then some of it doesn't work. So yeah.
And he's a good boss.
Yeah, boss is always good and always right. So yes.
Pratik is part of a team working in the studio. Subodh has welders, carpenters, fabricators and painters, all there to bring whatever pops out of his head next to life.
I'm doing some experiment and working towards the very new works, and this is one of them. Pratik, will you put it on, please? Yeah, so basically, it's a sound piece. Sound is coming from the seat, metal seat, and I wanted to sound much louder, and in the dark room, maybe few or more working together. And yeah, I don't want to talk so much about this work unless I make it. Yeah, so I will just leave it.
Coming up, we follow Subodh as he changes course to pursue pots not quite as stainless as they once were.
Now, suddenly I found this, and it's like, keep discovering something, new things. And that's the artist's journey.
Ideas. Ideas.
Leading Indian artist Subodh Gupta, having made a name for himself using shiny stainless steel utensils in his work, has recently regressed to old battered frying pans for inspiration. And where better to find said pans than the local junkyard?
Did you see these marks? There's so much abstraction, and this is like a palm reading, you know? Imagine the person who used this and then throw it, but whatever time he used this, how many people eaten it? That's happiness, sadness. I love it something what already existing, and nobody damn care about it. For me, it is fantastic. And this is my new series. I will make watercolor, I will make painting out of it, yeah? And I'm very excited about it.
This new collection, named 7 billion light years, poignantly references the number of souls on the planet, as well as the distance from Earth to the cosmos beyond, and the conjunction between the two.
Tell you all a story, this fry pan, no? Like, many times people cooked food when they're happy. You throw them when you get angry too. They are the most evidence I find in the universe within my pan. And these scratches, this palm, this life is something very important. So what I do, I take a photograph of a pan, I print them, I make my life easier. Technology. Yeah. So computer become a pencil for an artist. So it doesn't matter how you paint. It's matter what you paint and why you paint. It's layer. Then is color stay. You have to do maybe 5 layers here. It's not much color in this painting, but very subtle color.
Not for the first time with Subodh's work. Once he's happy with the prototype, it gets supersized.
Well, you see my studio. This is my painting studio. And what I was talking to you when you went in the scrapyard, you see something similar kind of utensil I was selecting over there. Some of the utensil, I love it plain and paint them. But some of them I put color in it, so make it more lively. And it's not necessary I'm painting all the canvas myself. So my assistant painting it. And I have a full control what I wanted to be painted in that sense. And it's like when architect designed the building, doesn't mean he carrying the bricks and finishing the building. This is the way I make my art. This is the way I express myself. This is the way I found something and tried to express with the front of the people. And it's totally to the world, the way I wanted to take me, but I don't want to hide anything. I want to put to you the complete reality. What exactly, how I'm painting, what's happening, and how I do my works. But more important thing is the concept, is the idea. But who care about this pan? So it's like, yeah, I care about that pan.
Some might say a man who started out his career by smearing himself in cow dung is used to taking artistic risks.
As an artist, you're taking risk all the time, and that's our job. What you say, risk or pleasure, no, excitement. You just do it, things you do it, is work out or not work out. Of course, many art you make and you don't make good art. You know that. This art didn't work out, so it's happened many times. And it's a part of our practice, part of our journey.
That journey for the railway boy from the country to the heart of the Indian art scene has been a spectacular one. But has it always been a first-class ticket?
I was more happier before. I was very happy before because I had nothing to lose. Now it's a little tougher because people looking at you. That time was nobody looking at you. So you do what you like. You know? It's been more than 20 years in this practice. First 10, 12, 15 years, we haven't sold anything. So it's not like we was making art just to sell it. We was making art because that is my life, that is my passion, and that was it. Yes, today still we sell art as well, and I make money from it too, but it's not like my passion is gone away or become something else. It's very difficult to see about the future. I know where the target is.
And where is the target?
Front of me.
Subodh seems to have found a huge amount of traction internationally. He has international galleries, he has international collectors. I don't think Indian artists see themselves as being confined to or by India any longer.
It's the anger, it's the excitement, it is the ability to dare and dream and be bold and say, look, you know, we are there, I'm here, and I'm here to conquer the world. And that energy and spirit is what you see in what he produces.
I think he's an extraordinary sculptor.
A few ideas is floating in my mind, and I'm working towards that. And I'm quite excited about it, what I'm going to do next. And yeah, I'm looking forward.
Can you give us any hints what it is?
I don't want to talk about it, but hopefully if it come out good, you will see. Yeah.